This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. We want to welcome you. It is a feel-good Friday, and we are rocking today like we always do. And also, we want to just say thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. And remember, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast. And I ask one more thing. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review.
Yeah.
And if you don't, I might question your psychiatric stability. That's just how to get down. Because we, my bad, sorry, T. You know, I be taking that stuff personal, so yeah. But
Jarvis needs an internet hug from you people, okay?
Yes. Each and every day by hitting that subscribe button. That's my internet hug. So yeah, we appreciate you for doing that.
Right.
But yeah, we have a lot of stuff on board for today. We're going to preview the Braves Marlins series. Yeah. Are we starting to get some same feels as that other team in Atlanta, the Hawks? Oh yeah, well, let's wait around till like they did it last year. Yeah, we're going to talk about that and see if those comparisons actually come to fruition. Mm-hmm. Also, Deion responded, and you know it brings a lot of questions, not to Deion Sanders about how he responded, but to Nick Saban.
Yeah,
should we start questioning him and what he's done and how he's viewed in the college football landscape? And last but not least, for the culture, Greg Olsen getting the opportunity to broadcast the Super Bowl. Wow. All right, that's too soon, maybe? We'll see. We'll talk about all that. But first, we got to talk about the Atlanta Braves. We know that they lost in walk-off fashion on Wednesday. And it was just a horrible look for those guys. And you know, and the Braves having only won 2 series in the entire season. And they're at the top of the league in strikeouts as a team, and everybody just seems like they're struggling. T, you know, I know that last year, you know, they didn't get to 500 until July of last year, right?
Right.
And they went on to win the World Series, and I think a lot of people are expecting that for them to do that again, but is that asking a little bit too much to be expecting them to turn it around in the summertime and go on to win another World Series? Are we asking a little bit too much of this team?
Yeah, I believe if they're not careful, Jarvis, we are asking a bit much. Use the Hawks as a cautionary tale of thinking that you're going to be able to turn the light switch on, whether that's the fan base of Braves country or whether that's the Braves themselves. Now, the good thing is Alex Anthopoulos will pull a trigger a little bit faster than, say, Travis Schlenk did pull a trigger. Now, we'll see him pull triggers faster this season.
Never had that issue.
Exactly, but we're talking about your natural inclination. Double A's natural inclination is to pull a trigger faster than maybe Travis's is, right? So I think in that regard, you have a little bit of cushion maybe to not be as concerned. But I'll be honest with you, Jarvis, 2 days ago, 5 days ago, 7 days ago, as you and I have continued to have this conversation, the concern meter, it has slowly but surely, it's starting to go up. Because I'm really looking at them going, okay, are you going to be yourselves, Braves, as far as what you did last year, back half of the season to turn it on and go on a run and win the World Series? Or are you going to be like the Hawks, thinking that you can turn it on, assuming that you're going to turn it on, and maybe you even get to the postseason, right? Maybe you even get to that one and done game as well, or maybe, you know, wild card game, or who knows, maybe you miraculously vault to the top of the division, but you also, because you have to fight so hard to get back into it, does that then send you to an early exit? So I'm looking at each player, comparing them to the Hawks, and how every player, with the exception of Trae Young, actually regressed a bit. And maybe let me put on Yucca Okongwu in that conversation as well, but save 2 people on that entire roster and Clint Capella, the rest of the roster kind of regressed. Whereas you're looking at the Braves, same situation. For the players who are returning from last year's roster, pretty much regression almost across the board, if you will, except I'll say it, except maybe a Max Fried,
Right.
save one game, if you will. If those formulas are the same, then we should have a concern, and the Braves should have a concern too, that hey, you better get it together and get it together quickly, and not keep assuming every game, every series that wow, we're going to turn on this light bulb and we're going to get it together. No, turning it on starts now this weekend against the Marlins.
You know what? And they absolutely have to. And just to add to what you were saying, because I really like the Hawks Brave comparison, right? Because when you think about what Kevin Herter said at the end of the season, he said it felt like we were just constantly digging ourselves out of the hole that we just never got to.
Yeah.
And like I said, they made the playoffs, but that's a mental piece, right? That started to mess with you mentally. And you start questioning yourself as an athlete. And we even saw it with the guy who's going to be on the mound tonight, and Charlie Morton. You know, it was 6:40 first pitch. He questioned himself a lot to start the season off because, you know, granted, he should have been, because he was just so bad early on in the season. And thankfully, he started to turn around in his last outing. You know, he had no decision, obviously, but he only gave up one run on 2 hits. You know, so that's promising, right? But I think that when you have a professional, when things don't go your way consistently, that's when you start to question yourself. And I think that a lot of times you're starting to get to the point where it may be a mental piece, especially when you're talking about when everybody is struggling at the plate and striking out all the doggone time.
Yeah.
So
it really makes me think about this, and I know you can appreciate this as well as a former athlete. And I know sometimes people don't think dancers are athletes, but let me tell you, my knee would say otherwise. But you know, there are moments in time where literally somebody has to step up, because it does become a mental thing, and that takes taking nothing away from some of the injuries that the Braves have had to deal with, including Ronald Acuna Jr. But what I was thinking about, and you and I talked about as well, is who is that person who can be the off the field generator, the off the field spark, the one who course corrects, not Brian Snicker, right? Not the manager, but the player who in that locker room is going to be the one, or in that dugout, that course corrects mentally for the Braves. And you see, and again, I don't want to sound like I'm making a one-to-one comparison, Jarvis, because I'm not going in on Matt Olson at all. But what I am saying is, this is where you miss Freddie Freeman. This is where Freddie would have probably gotten everybody together, maybe individually first, and maybe at some point collectively, and helped to right the ship. And that's where my question becomes, who is that guy? Same question you and I have asked, and many asked about the Hawks last season. Who was that guy who was going to be the vocal leader? Clay Capella did become that person because that's his natural inclination, right? And you started to see some things change as Capella started to speak up a little bit. Who's that person now, Jarvis, in the absence of Freddie? Yes, Ronald Acuna Jr. is that person on the field because his work speaks for him. But who's that guy in the locker room, or who's that guy walking up and down that dugout just doing that player coaching that can help to right this ship mentally? Because at this point, Jarvis, I'm more concerned about the mental aspect of this slump than I am the physical.
Yeah, and you gotta, like I said, you gotta go that way. You know, you gotta think that way, because some of this stuff is it's really hard to explain, you know. And they're like you said, they're questioning themselves. They are trying to figure things out. And when you go down that rabbit hole, like, you never know where you're going to end up. you might, like Kevin Herter said, you might end up in a hole that you can't get yourself out of. But hopefully that's not the case. Like I said, first pitch tonight is at 6:40. Charlie Morton's going to be on the mound. Hopefully he continues the recent success, and the Braves get a win tonight. Now, another big game going on tonight. The Washington Mystics taking on the Atlanta Dream at the crib down in College Park. It's going down. T, give the folks what they need. What should we expect tonight for the Atlanta Dream?
It's going to be fire. Lit on the South Side. And let me tell you, I mean, so many crazy storylines, right? So you're looking at the number 2 and number 3 teams in the Eastern Conference, respectively. Same records, 4-1, but the Mystics just slide ahead by percentage points in the Eastern Conference. So, you know, you got this young upstart dream team that's just doing things that's just surprising everybody in the league right now. Thanks to Ryan Howard. Of course, we know she's the number 1 overall pick that the Dream moved up to get. The number 3 pick Shakira Austin is another force to be reckoned with. So that's going to be an interesting little battle, although they're not at the same position, but just an interesting battle of top picks to just see how that's going to play out. And I'm interested to see how the Dream is going to play this because, the Dream has been playing small ball very effectively, putting guards and forwards out there, not necessarily having that person at the 5, but if they go with the 5 on a more consistent basis, then Kia Vaughn has her work cut out for her with Austin.
Right.
No Elena Deladon tonight. She is actually going to be out on rest, if you will, and deservedly so for the veteran. No Tip Hayes, still waiting for her in terms of her transition from her overseas assignment. So she won't be there tonight. And unfortunately, man, Jarvis, I can't believe you and I are still having this conversation across sports. But Monique Billings out due to health and safety protocols. So she is questionable unless she gets a pass like Al Horford
It's
got.
still here.
Still, Jarvis.
It's not going anywhere.
COVID
is still here.
Yes, and that was Al Horford on the injury report that we get from the NBA every hour on the hour on game day. And right up until the 11th hour, Al Horford was on that darn list. Yeah. And thankfully for the Celtics, he was able to get off. So we still have Monique listed in questionable status because of that. But again, cannot wait to see this. And Elizabeth Williams is coming back, one of the more beloved members of the Dream. She'll be back. This is her first game back as a competitor. So yes, I'll be on the South Side, excited about what I know is going to be some kind of game.
It's going to be some kind of game, and we're going to be some kind of show just for you, Monday through Friday. You already know what time it is. Yeah. But guess what? Coming up next, it will be the Deep Dive with JD and T, and we are talking about Nick Saban and the comments that he made. Did he turn off recruits? We'll discuss that next on Locked On Sports Atlanta. It's ATL Day Whizzles.